Hello and thank you for watching this video from us here at Cookdown, where today we're going to talk to you about Connection Center and what it can do to push SCOM alerts to basically anywhere using webhooks. But first, let's take a look at what Connection Center is and what it involves. Essentially, it's a really easy way to allow you to push SCOM alerts and other pieces of data such as object information to places like ServiceNow and Sharewell, and also to use those SCOM alerts to automate the process of raising messages in places like Slack and Teams. But today we're going to be looking at the Webhooks capability, which lets you raise SCOM alerts anywhere and use them to do many cool things with webhooks. So what we're going to do, let's have a look in our demo. So here we are in SCOM now, looking at alerts essentially. You'll see in my SCOM deployment I have a large number of failed to connect to computer and health service heartbeat failure alerts. Essentially this is a test lab, so that's kind of to be expected. But you know, the first thing you might want to consider doing is where a server goes down is to give it a reboot to start it up if it's down. Now this is something the webhook is kind of perfect for, and SCOM is well placed to trigger something happening like restarting a VM, because this is a constant kind of message that you would get. So what we're going to do is we're going to push across the heartbeat failure alerts across via webhook. We're going to push them to Logic Apps, Azure Logic Apps, and we're going to use those Azure Logic Apps to start essentially these VMs, and with an approval in the middle, because we won't necessarily always want to restart the VMs. These are Azure hosted, so that's what we're going to do. So now what we're going to do is go across to Logic Apps, and we're going to have a look at one I built earlier. So what we've got here is a simple Logic app, which is part of Azure. When a HTTP post request is received on this URL, we're going to send an email to somebody to approve our VM reboot. In this case, we're not always going to want to do this. So we're going to do this by taking from this HTTP post request some parameters. We've got here our monitoring object display name, which is going to be basically the machine that wants a reboot, and we've got the SCOM alert description in here. And we're going to ask the person in question, the approver, which is in this case me, do they want to approve restarting or not? What we've done, one other thing to highlight here is we've pasted the JSON schema up here, which will be available from our support site, so you can, which will help shape the parameters that can be used in email and anywhere else essentially. The first thing is the reboot approved? If it is, then we're going to start the machine and we're going to send an email saying the machine has been restarted essentially. And if not, we are actually going to send a text message to somebody, and that text message will essentially be using Twilio for that. This is another outbound HTTP post to Twilio, which also supports webhooks. And the whole idea here is where the machine isn't just a simple case of restarting. We want to actually get somebody on the case and get somebody looking into what's going on. A text would be a more appropriate method of kind of communicating that. I'm not going to dig into Twilio at all. It's outside of the scope. But essentially, this is just a free trial of Twilio. I'll show you the message that we get, but sort of not much else. All right. So the first thing to do, now this is set up, is we're going to get the URL for the HTTP post request, this guy here. And we're going to go back into SCOM. We're going to go to the administration pane and look at Connection Center here. What we need to do in Connection Center is set up a webhook to push stuff to our Azure Logic app. So you can see I've already got ServiceNow set up. So whatever we do here, we're going to be getting ServiceNow incidents. I also have Sharewell set up, but it's currently turned off. So we're in the outbound notifications section, and we're going to add a connection. We're asked where we want to push SCOM alerts to, and I'm going to select webhooks. The first thing you ask for is a name. Let's go with Logic Apps or something. Webhook URL is what's in my clipboard. We're not using a proxy, but you can put it in here if you do need to use one. My connection is enabled, so I'm going to check this. Otherwise, no alerts will be sent. We get two choices when it comes to payload format. We could choose the standard message, which pushes only the name, description, and object name. But we need a few more properties than that. We want the detailed message, which includes lots of really cool stuff for this post. One of them is the monitored object display name, which is what we obviously need to restart the machine, because we need to know the name of the machine, which you won't get in an easy way from the standard message. Note we do have the object name, but as these alerts usually come from a watcher, that would be the name of the watcher, not the name of the machine, so we need the detailed one. Then we pick the conditions when we're going to send an alert. And in this case, what I'm going to do is cheat, essentially, and say only raise them when alerts are in a specific state, and that state is going to be raise incident. So in other words, we're going to choose what we send. I could be a bit more granular and pick out that specific alert, you know, when alert name contains, you know, failed to connect to computer or whatever. But for this demo, this will do the job, because I can just move the SCOM alerts between state. So there we go. We save this configuration, and so you have to pick where you want it to be saved to, and I'm going to pick our Connection Center Management Pack. It's stored in a separate MP. You're shown a summary of what's going to happen, and when I click Finish, we will create a connection, and the first thing that we'll do is we'll test we can actually get in, we can actually connect to the place that we've specified in our URL. So this is actually a monitor inside of SCOM, and this will return connected, as it just did. Look, there we go, great, it's now green when it's working. So, in theory, that is all set up. So what I'm going to do now is go through to SCOM Alerts and find one of my server down alerts. This guy here is a perfect one. So failed to connect to computer. Let's push this one to the raise incident state like this. Bear in mind that ServiceNow is also connected, so this one will also result in incidents be raised. So we should see incidents as well as just the webhooks. And now we're going to go across here, and what we're going to do is, if I go back a level out of edit mode, let's just save my changes quickly. I corrected a typo, and let's see, has it happened yet? We're going to watch the running, right? So it's in the middle of being processed. So at the moment the HTTP request was received by the Logic app. It's come from SCOM, and an email has been sent for approval. The email has been sent to me. This is my inbox. So here it is. This is what it looks like. The server infrahost 03 may need a reboot. Oh, spelt wrong. That was the typo I fixed, but I didn't hit save on it. So there we go. And there it is. Approve restarting. Go for it, or no, not on my watch. Let's go for yes. In this case, this will result hopefully in the machine being rebooted. If we go back here and refresh. Okay, you can see the input true has been returned, and start virtual machine in this case is what's happening, because this is the demo lab. I put start virtual machine in here as the action rather than restart virtual machine. Obviously you'd probably do something else in production, and it sent an email to say, let's see what it says. Here we go get coffee, your VM is on the way back to the land of the living. So it's done what it was supposed to do, which is really cool. The other use case is obviously to send a text message. So I guess let's send across another alert just for that purpose. Let's send one of these guys across. Raise incident. The other thing that we'll notice while we're waiting for this one to be sent around is because these are from monitors, as you can see here, my host 03 alert is closed, because obviously monitors, when they detect if things okay, which this one has done, has closed out the SCOM alert. We should still have an incident in service now. And what I'm expecting to see for this one, we've given it, there we go, it's just happened. We've given it long enough so we've got an incident ID here that says essentially this has been raised as an incident. It's in the new state, this is in service now. If we were to go and have a look, we would see that over in service now. So if we log in and go to SCOM alerts here, there's that SCOM alert for failed to connect to computer for host 03. This is good enough for illustrating the point, and you can see we raised it as an incident here as well. But we're not here to look at ServiceNow, so I'm not going to spend any real time on ServiceNow. There's videos on this piece just to explain sort of the benefit of using these integrations together. They become more powerful together. Back to Logic Apps now. So if I now refresh in our history, there should be another one running, which is my second one, which is waiting for approval. It'll be sat in my inbox. And this time we're going to say, no, I don't want to restart this Guest04. In a real world use case, you may not want to restart a VM. You may be aware of other issues. You may want to investigate first. There's many reasons. So this should send a text message, which we're going to have a look at now. So here we go. Here's the screenshot of what's on my phone. So this is the text. Obviously, this is a Twilio trial, so you can see that in the message. But here we go. Here's the text. But you get the idea, basically. It's very, very powerful what you can do with webhooks, and with Logic Apps, you can literally automate most things, within your, certainly anything within your Azure tenant. You get a lot of power with Logic Apps, and all made possible triggered from the SCOM Alerts and using webhooks. It's really, really quite simple. So there we are. That's our demo. If you like what you've seen here, go to cookdown.com/connection center, where you can take a trial, you can book a demo, and of course you can ask any question that you like. So hopefully that's been worth watching. Thank you very much.